Oh my God. An absolute stone one-outer, Matt.
He has the build. I have to tell you, he has the build for it.
The wingspan on him, I mean, he'll reach over and pull your stack in himself from the 2-seat. You're sitting in 7, and he's like, no, I got this. King, queen suited, meanwhile, back at the feature for Aishan. Has itself some issues here. As an open to 5,000 is mulled over by Ilani.
Yeah, I think we can see this one go either way. Probably leans 3-bet. And if it leans 3-bet, Ilani's not going to miss it. That's for certain. We've seen him take the aggressive option just about every opportunity he had. Spots are always very uncomfortable at this depth. 40-ish big blinds. I think king, queen suited just good enough. You're going to have to get in the mix. Understanding that you're dominated some amount of the time.
Yeah, it is so funny because we use blocker logic so often to be heroic with these king, queen suiteds. And now all of a sudden it's not going to take logic, but rather just a glimpse at this ace-10-3 with 2 diamonds to understand that more chips will be finding their way forward. Ilani, top pair in an inflated one pre, 34 in the middle. They play 103K effective.
Yeah, I imagine we see a river here in some capacity. About 3 SPR. I imagine the small size will be utilized here by Ilani. We do see 11 into 34. There might be some ideas of a smallish check raise here, call off. King, queen, diamonds here, plenty strong enough with the gut shot flush draw. You can see in the equities, about 60-40. These are spots that when in doubt, you kind of just find a way to funnel the money in. I imagine he would be able to set up a little bit of, or have a range of hands that he can target that will fold. Comparable hands to what he's holding that don't have a front door, back door, so like king, queen of spades perhaps would be a hand that he could target. He could apply a lot of pressure to hands like jacks and queens that choose to c-bet. So I do think he's going to come with the check raise here.
There it is, 32,000 on the strength of the nut flush draw and the gut shot, as well as being able to leverage the presence of the ace to maybe send some pocket pairs packing. Of course, we block kings and queens.
No, Ilani's hand really can't do anything wrong. It doesn't matter if he calls or jams. It's more of a question of what would his range as a whole prefer to do. We do have some weaker hands in that range that are going to want to see a turn.
Well, this isn't all that weak, and yet it is going to play itself as a flat. As you mentioned, Berkey, no wrong decisions and no issues on a 5 of spades turn for the Israeli, as the Frenchman now must navigate out of position in the inflated 98K streets.
When he set this up for a jam, I suspect he'll follow through. Feels a little tough because we're not exactly sure what we're trying to get to fold, but, you know, kind of as mentioned, you'll see kings, queens, jacks be forced to play this way by Ilani, then they have to kind of hero it off.
Is the jam not exceedingly polar?
It
I
is,
know it's
but the check
70.5
raise,
effective.
yeah, I think the check raise itself was polar to begin with.
Okay.
So we're looking at like 2 pair plus and then maybe exactly this combo.
All right, so all of it on request now, and Ilani isn't exactly thrilled, but maybe this will be regarded as simply a hand of poker.
Yeah, I think he knows he doesn't beat value is the thing. He's losing to 10s, ace 10 and ace king that slow play pre, as well as, I guess, aces some of the time. He's now also losing to ace 5, but I don't believe that would be a part of the check raising strategy, so he can probably discount that. And then he's beating the combo draws, so the king queen of diamonds, king jack of diamonds, kind of exactly. Perhaps we see some 10-9, jack 10 of diamonds play this way. I think it's less often, though. It's a big confrontation here. We're going to need to see some help if king queen is going to improve. Otherwise, Ilani is going to get himself on quite the stack, and he does. 3 of heart river, not going to do it for him.
So the calls seem to be a bit of a foregone, if uncomfortable, conclusion to the jam on the turn, and a clean run out.
Ilani's living right. 2 kings again. This time he's just going to be opening the action.
Nothing brewing.
Hello.
Check that.
Goodbye.
Yeah, it sure feels like that, unless, of course, improvements can be found for Thomas Eshon. His full clip emptied. Granted, low caliber ammunition. Sitting 37K deep coming in. Sposato's Jack 10 folding. I thought I heard call, even though I saw the cards going.
I think it was Ilani.
I see.
4, 5, 6, 7.
So we saw the fold and heard the call all at the same time, but it wasn't passing Sposato's lips, rather predictably Ilani's, as ace king and 2 kings collide.
But it's not a sweat, I don't know.
And the ace high board, along with the spade, is an all Eshon affair. Tremendous resilience.
Nearly flopped him dead.
King.
Just got to fade a single king of hearts.
$37.
Oh my God.
I jinxed myself.
An absolute stone one-outer, Matt.
Wow.
It's nice for TV, come on.
It's nice for us, I have to tell you.
I got to tell you, man, bravo,
I saw you
Thomas Eshon, for taking it on the chin like
I
that.
think.
Can I ask you something? You ever been in that spot where maybe you did have that thought, but then as you observed the brewing reaction from your opponent to that prospect, you pulled up lane?
Yeah, probably in my younger days when I didn't have much else to go off of other than my ability to read the room and, try to guess correctly. Now I think I would just fight the urge, even if my instincts told me something was awry.
Yeah, and we're going to have a fight on our hands here as yet again Cowboys have mounted up, this time for the surging Stetsura. And Sposato with ace-king of diamonds. We know what direction he's headed.
4th or 5th time Stetsato's had kings. Wow.
Who the hell is Stetsato?
What did I say?
Stetsato? I'm like, is that the love child of...
Yes, exactly. That's precisely what happened, is Sposato and Stetsura.
Well, by the way, something else has happened as we're giggling through the surnames. Pocket Queens is a not funny development for a rather deep-stacked Ilani.
This is hell. And honestly, as good as he's been and as aggressive as he's been able to pick up chips, there may be an argument here for just like getting out of harm's way, but it's still queens. And I imagine we're going to 4-bet here. It's just a matter of how much.
These two trains are heading towards one another on the same track.
I think ultimately it just comes down to not a matter of who gets stacked, but like who gets out of the way. Is it the ace-king suited that ends up folding? Is it the queens that ends up folding? Not sure.
Yeah, this isn't going to be a 3-train collision.
I don't think
would
so.
think.
Yeah, I don't think so. But
So 2 bets became 3. 3 became 4, and the man who started things isn't done with them. 5 bets to 75,000.
If they are reading it all into body language and things of that nature, we might not see a flop.
How so?
The degree at which that 75K went in for a 5 bet with no thought whatsoever kind of indicates to me we might be against the blade here.
Well, listen, Sposato's knife's fairly sharp under normal circumstances, but a very dulling effect brought on by the 4 and 5 bet behind his 3 bet. I wouldn't want to be that drawstring right about now.
Yeah, I don't think I would feel very comfortable playing 6 bet all in here with anything but aces.
There's not a whole lot of times where ace-king, suited in particular, flirts with a muck pre-flop, but this would strike me as one of those times.
I think so. Again, the speed at which Stetsuria put in the 5 bet with what didn't really appear to be much thought. It's a great laydown.
Fantastic decision there.
And honestly, again, I wouldn't be shocked if we just don't even see a flop. Small re-raise, though.
I mean, just another 37.5 to see what's what. I don't want to make light of it, and obviously you play 124 effective from here, sub 1 SPR, so things could get expensive independent of board textures that would maybe leave us worried. And is the decision more for all than for some as it stands?
There it
Yes,
is.
it is.
Great
My
laydown.
goodness. Bravo, Ron Ilani.
And he shows it. He shows the kings.
And
Lets
Sposato
him right off
before
the
him.
hook.
And by the way, it's
It's
not as though we
wow.
can critique Stetsuria's choice to 5 bet here.
No, of course not. Of course not.
I look, the TV table. 30 minutes.
Much of the same. I'm sure all of these guys are, but... And Razai bringing some firepower, 4.6 million. Hockheim remains from the previous table, sitting with his 4.4. And certainly a playable hand here.
160.
So Hockheim is still present. 160 to skate, he says. Di Persio into the bin. Svak also.
And I have played against Ilani as well. Not quite as much. I found him to be very creative, crafty, certainly tough. And this call with 7-5 off may well give us an opportunity to explore some of his strategic insights here.
2.175.000.
The only customer of the open. Ace 9-6 monotone texture, gut shot, and a small club draw for Ilani, who checks over to king high and the better club draw.
Yeah, these 3 to a suit flops are always quite interesting, especially when both players have connected a bit.
110.
So Ilani's decision here, I would imagine, is does he want to represent a flush, more or less, with a raise? Or does he just want to call and perhaps try to bluff on the river if the turn checks through? Both routes seem reasonable.
He
Yeah.
faces the follow through of 100 into 450. This is sub quarter pot.
290.
And it has tempted him into taking the more aggressive path, check raising to 290,000.
Yeah, and I don't mind this play, right? He's going to knock out a lot of better hands. It's probably impossible that his opponent has a worse hand than 7 high.
I saw you were moving with the castle.
It is a bit tricky, though. If called, do we want to continue with this particular draw?
You made the deal heads up, right?
And naturally, we do see the call from the king high with the jack of clubs. Hockheim probably wise to the fact that Ilani may well have some of these hands in his range.
Plus the trophy.
You won like 3 showdowns.
And that 6
Yeah.
is an interesting card.
Good.
If you won 2, then I got short.
Could Ilani sometimes have
It will keep you more
a 6
hungry.
in his range
Being
that he
in
was
first
just
place,
kind of
so you're gonna keep
looking
going.
to end the hand right there with?
You don't
Possibly.
want to play that much, but maybe now you want a little bit more.
No, but it's yeah. I'm playing all the EPT
Ah, yeah.
since a couple of years,
Okay.
and yeah. I will-
Checks
I
it
will
over.
keep,
Hockheim content to do the same.
Cyprus.
So a quick knuckle back
Feel like want to take
and a very dry 3 of diamonds on the end.
Yeah, now Ilani with,
bit intense, yeah.
you know, a bottom of range type of holding. His decision really, does he want to continue to represent something strong?
Let's keep also.
Does he think it's believable?
Go. Nice.
He looks somewhat poised.
Carlo and Cyprus.
It's a lot, yeah.
Perhaps a slight increase in
All in.
his breath. Wow. That's a strong play.
Simply rips it in for his tournament life. 1.7. A big overbet.
And, you know, Hockheim has the type of hand that really is never going to lose to a bluff. We can't imagine that Ilani is going to have a pocket pair or a 3. And he does appear to be breathing a bit heavy. This would be really a tremendous call.
One that would send Ilani packing, by the way. Understandably.
Yeah,
Hockheim does find the bin.
nicely done.